Cynical Who. This time there's three of us.
As if you thought it wasn't bad enough.
Hey guys, it's Cynical Who here, and welcome back to another video. So today I'm back here to discuss episode 9 of series 12, Ascension of the Cybermen, and I'm here with Max as usual. And today we have a very special guest, Tharries. If you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Tharries from Tharries.
I'm sure you've come from his channel.
Yeah,
probably heard of him. You probably subscribe to him, but
yeah, you might.
If you're not, for whatever crazy reason, all his links will be in the description. So
cheers,
do make sure to go over there.
Yeah,
and
I'm just a guy who makes Doctor Who videos, podcasts.
Aren't we all?
You guys are going to be on. Well, obviously, Cynical is going to be on. Other stuff, news, reviews, all that sort of stuff. So
that bloody roof spoiler from yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it was like that video was one of those things. It was so detailed that it's like I can't really debunk any of this. So it was I had to report on it because it just seemed really like legitimate. So I was like, I need.
It does feel like it's building towards that.
Yeah, that's certainly
like you said in your video, because I saw that today. Finally, it's a lot of it, 90% of it has been confirmed already. So,
well, yeah, we had the bits with the Cyberium, the cast, all that stuff. So
and Chris Chibnall is saying it's a game changer. So,
yeah, I personally really wouldn't like it if they go with that.
Yeah,
but we'll get onto it later. So for now, Ascension of the Cybermen. That was what this video is about. We're really good at rambling, aren't we? So I'm gonna let Tharries start because he's the guest, of course. What did you think of Ascension of the Cybermen?
Right. Well, I will say that the past couple of episodes, I've struggled initially to get out what I thought about it. Which is weird for me because normally I have a very quick reaction. I either love something, I hate something, or I find it somewhere in the middle. With these past two episodes, I've struggled. In the end, I said that it was okay for me. I think that, there's some good elements to it. I think that there were a couple too many plot elements and characters for my liking, but I think that is the Chibnall style.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But overall, I just thought it was, decent. It didn't do anything groundbreaking for me. Again, a lot of reused ideas, but it wasn't abhorrently bad like Battle of Ranskoor of Kolos. So
oh God, no.
In that respect, I think it's just kind of okay for me personally.
Yeah, I think. Well, Max, what was your general consensus on the episode?
This is right.
If you think it's going to be what was it? An unpopular opinion? Don't worry, because I think we all feel the same about this episode.
Well, the thing is, it's a bit weird because we're obviously recording this the day after, so I've had time to cool down and calm down. But basically,
calm down. Was it that bad?
Because I watched it. I got in at 8 o'clock last night because I was coming back from Shropshire, long story, on holiday. So I watched it an hour later. I didn't watch it as it went out live, so I don't know why that would have altered my opinion of it, but I'm aware that it has been positively received. If you look on IMDb, it's doing better than a lot of episodes of Series 12. And there is one YouTuber I've been keeping an eye on, Hill versus Babyface, who's been doing quite entertaining reviews.
Oh, the Praxis one, that was hilarious.
Yeah. And this is the first episode that he gave a positive review, which I was quite surprised by, of the whole series. But I just watched it. I went to bed after watching it, and I was quite pissed off, to be honest. And as I say, I think I've calmed down, as I say. I think it's probably decent. But I was just watching it, and I was just sitting there at the 40-minute mark. I was thinking, just get on with it. Just fucking get on with it. I just want this to be over with. And the thing is, we hated Ranskoor of Kolos because it didn't quite have that series finale feel, and they were trying to. I think Resolution was supposed to be the series finale, but because there were 2 weeks in between, it didn't feel. It kind of backfired.
I feel like the series finale. Personally, to me, that is the series finale. It's even called Resolution, so.
Yeah, but the thing is that it's two-parter. It features the Cybermen, there are rumours, while not confirmed, the companions are going to go, which I hope they do. I'd be seriously pissed off if they weren't.
Me too.
Because it's been too long, and 3 companions is too many. Hill versus Babyface said that's the main thing holding it back. But it did feel a bit, in terms of plot, there wasn't much plot to speak of from my point of view. I hated the dialogue. The way the sort of dialogue is quite wooden, and the cliffhanger I found to be quite predictable. The moment it turned pink, I think actually before then I knew Gallifrey was going to appear. They didn't help matters. You know the trailer where the Cybermen's heads were revealed?
Yeah.
There's a line of dialogue where Jodie Whittaker says, "That's my home planet," and we had a feeling episode 10 was going to be about Gallifrey, so the fact it appeared at the end was no surprise, really.
Also, I'll say the Barack Stemis thing. I heard about that. I instantly knew the Master was going to be back, so...
Yeah, I think we knew it from the moment Spyfall aired that he was going to be back in series 10. In episode 10, sorry, there were rumours about it, so he was going to be back in the finale. So it's tried to surprise. It's tried to hold these things off, but the thing is, so I have a feeling someone was speaking there.
I think it was just echoing from.
There's a bit of echo. Never mind. But the thing is, the Master coming back in Spyfall. The thing is, that rumor was on the internet if you knew where to look for it. So that didn't. I talk about it in the episode, but that wasn't a huge spoiler for me because one channel I follow. Well, I don't follow, but I look at it from time to time. They blurted it out. But yeah, certain surprises that were meant to be surprises weren't actually that surprising. There were things I liked about it when I first watched it. The moment where there's an argument between the Doctor and companions, that was interesting. But it's kind of it's too little, too late. Really, I still feel the companions are quite wooden, and I'm not sorry to see them go. Really, even Ryan Tosin Call I did like to start with, but he's that great on me. Not the actor, the character, really, but they're not properly developed characters. I have really mixed thoughts about it. I was quite thrown as well by the whole subplot of to and fro between the Irish thing. I don't know if that's supposed to make sense yet, but it wasn't properly explained. I was kind of bemused by that between the I was wondering whether perhaps it would have been better if it was structured so having all of it at the beginning, but I can understand why they wanted to have the electrocution near the end because that's quite shocking.
Yeah.
I really don't know what to make of it, basically.
Yeah. And now for the Cynical Who opinion, because it's been 7 minutes and I still haven't given my verdict yet.
Yeah. I rattled on there, didn't I?
I was so underwhelmed by this episode. like for the first part of the series finale, you would expect... I think last week, because I really liked last week's episode, I rewatched it and I dare to say it's probably my favourite of the Chibnall era. But I just don't know. This episode didn't lead on from it very well. Like, the Lone Cyberman last week was awesome. He was shot fantastically. He felt threatening. But in this time, I don't know. It's maybe the same problem.
He felt like a rip-off of the Terminator. It almost like Tim Shaw all over again.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I think it was. I think that because of... In episode 8, I still thought he was a little bit goofy, but I thought the lighting... was what really helped make him creepy.
Yeah, I think it's the same problem that you brought up about the dregs. Like, the way they're shot in daylight, he just looked a bit...
Yeah, context is all.
A bit naff.
I like the new Cyberman design, though.
I want to talk about the Cyberman design.
Hang on, there was Tharries, were you going to say something a minute ago? I think I interrupted you.
I was just going to say I like the Cyberman design as well.
Nice sort of Revenge of the Cyberman type look. I'm quite a fan of that design.
I think it's probably one of the best of New Who, at least.
Oh yeah, definitely.
For sure.
About the Cybermen. I just heard myself delaying there. So, so I lost my train of thought there. So
the new Cybermen.
It was interesting to see the old Cybermen coming back, although they looked as though they were done with CGI. Just putting it out there. And then we see the new Cybermen. It's quite interesting. The way they do the Cybermen here is quite different to how they've been done for a while in terms of execution. But that's more with last week. But the new Cybermen design, we didn't see much of them. I still need to see more of them before I make a concrete opinion. I remember thinking, where you have that long tracking shot when you go to the feet and the design's first unveiled towards the end. the feet to the head. It's like the head looks all right, but the body itself, like the torso, looks like a mismatch. It doesn't really fit with the head. I can't pronounce mismatch properly, but like I say, I need to see more of them next week. But the thing is, I feel like Cybermen are going to be more of a background thing next week.
That's kind of my concern, is that I didn't want the Cybermen to be overshadowed by the Master and the Gallifrey stuff, and it looks like that's going to be happening, which is a shame, because...
Well, to be honest, it's quite refreshing, really, because we haven't had many two-part finales in recent years where the Master is with the Cybermen. That's not happened. That hardly ever happened at all in the
2017.
We had Series 8 and Series 10 had that, so I mean...
Yeah, I was being sarcastic there.
Oh, right.
I was going to say, I was like, we've had it like twice.
Sorry.
Yeah, and then it's like, again, with World Enough in Time, they do a nice job with the Cybermen on the first part, and then the second half it sort of goes off. I mean, they're still good, but can I just take a moment to talk about those bloody stupid cyber floating heads? What the hell was that? I literally, when I saw those, I shouted out, "What the hell is this god awful shite?"
God, yeah. That reminds me, right? Because there are certain things that really do, like the cyber drones. Jodie Whittaker pulling her face as a shocked face. I can't believe what's happening. And the cyber drones, they just shoot for a little bit, and then they all go off home again because the script says so. There were so many incidents. Sorry, I'm stammering, but there were so many instances where the script says so. Last night, I didn't notice there were quite a lot of that with Orphan 55 that I didn't notice because I'm stupid. But I actually noticed it last night, which is not a good sign. And there were probably less of them really. But so the cyber drones, they just shoot a bit and then go home. And surely they would be able to detect that there were more people hiding behind. Surely they would have heat seekers because they were robots and they had that technology.
That was one thing that annoyed me. This is the cyber wars, and it was sort of portrayed as a bit naff. Like,
the thing is, you didn't really see a war, did you?
No, it was just a few people and some.
Wars, and it's just like a couple of guys and some heads. And
those characters were. I didn't feel anything for them.
I don't
even remember their names.
Cyber drones was mentioned, and the thing is as well, the whole idea of the cyber war. The lone Cyberman says they're not going to rest till they wipe. That idea is just, to me, illogical because it's the Cybermen are biting their they're biting the hands that feed them. Because, okay, so I may have got my facts slightly wrong, but am I right in saying that Cybermen are humans?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah. Obviously.
So if Cybermen kill humans, then they won't be able to make any more Cybermen.
Yeah, that was something very strange to me as well. I agree with you.
But then again, I mean, logic is overrated. The world does not run on logic, and it's
logic is irrelevant.
It's no different to Frankenstein killing their creator or something like that. So
excellent.
That did irritate me.
No, I agree with you. I think that I found it very strange that his desire was to kill all humans rather than convert. But then again, if you give him just an army of Cybermen anyway, then where's the incentive for him to upgrade people, I suppose?
Yeah, and the thing is that at the end as well, when Yasmin and Graham are trapped on the ship, and we have the shot of the Cybermen coming into the room and shooting at them, and it's sort of hinted that they get shot at, but surely they would just take them away and convert them rather than shooting them. Yeah, I expect they probably will survive, but
how?
And another thing as well that really annoyed me, another plot hole, they're aware the ship is full of Cybermen, but they take it to, well, not the planet Koshamas, because Koshamas is a person, but that sort of refuge-based thing. And no one considers what would be the rational thing, regardless of whether or not you agree with it. No one mentions that they should just put the ship on self-destruct, blow all the Cybermen. It would get rid of the companions, but no one suggests that. And it was like, oh, it'll be fine. Creatures of hope. We're hopeful. We never give up. We're just going to take all these Cybermen to the refuge base and allow them to run amok and kill everyone.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm guessing, right? Do you remember a while back those leaked Cyberman images of them in a field? I'm guessing that's them in Koshamas. Because there was a weird wizard guy looking guy in that as well. Leaked images. So I'm guessing... That's
my dog's having a meltdown in the background. Sorry about that.
So Ben Kenobi, which is what I'm calling him.
Ben Kenobi, I like that.
Well, obvious reasons. It's just ripping off everything. But yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hello?
Do we think he's a time? Actually, I'll speak about that later because there's a leaked image which I'm sure you might be aware of. Which, Max, have you seen that? I mean, we'll talk about it later.
Well,
but
I've seen Tharries' video, but you'd have to be probably more specific. But you might spoil it for me.
The certain image that Mandip Gill leaked.
If it's, I haven't seen Mandip Gill's account, so
okay. Well, we'll talk about that later then.
Since, so you might have seen it somewhere else.
I'll send it to the group chat now so you can have a look. But
okay.
But I feel like there wasn't enough closure in the episode. I know, of course, it's a series finale, the closure is going to come in the second half. But at least
it's the first part as well. So
first part, I mean, I would have still liked. I think it's a bit risky doing that weird Irish guy plot and not giving closure because it just leaves us questioning, and we're gonna have to wait a week, which is
well, I mean, that's
probably
the point.
Tactical. Yeah, but I like closure, okay, and I know it's still the first part, but
I'm of the opinion, right, that this story needed to like pick one of the elements that it had and do that rather than try and do like 3 different things.
Yeah,
like you had the Brendan character, which could have probably filled its own episode. As a Dr. Light, I think that would have actually been quite interesting, seeing this guy slowly be converted into a Cyberman. That would have been quite a cool story. He's either being converted into a Cyberman or he's a Time Lord, and what they plugged him into was actually the Chameleon Arch. So there's kind of a bit of discrepancies there. But like, you could cut out the Brendan stuff, you could cut out the Gallifrey stuff, and just focus on the Cyber Wars, and then like, obviously you can like hint to Gallifrey in like the next time or something, because I think trying to do all 3 in one episode, it just leads to everything feeling a little bit underbaked to me. Yeah. Like, nothing has room to breathe, I think is my issue more than anything else.
And the thing, my issue with it, and I'm going to use Spyfall as an example. So that was referred to as Spyfall Parts 1 and 2. Yeah. So sort of implying that it's meant to be watched all in one go. I mean, it's a bit of a chore to do so, but that's beside the point. And then this one is not labelled as such. You have 2 halves. They have distinct titles, so they're distinct. And I think the implication to me is that you're supposed to watch one episode on its own, but this episode on its own doesn't really sort of stand up. I mean, I would rather have, because with so many 2-parters in the past, we've had good setup and a bad payoff. We had that quite a lot with Moffat. So I would rather have it the other way around, bad setup and good payoff, sort of end on a high note. But this episode on its own sort of...
Yeah, are we going to talk about that weird guy, the Irish... The whole thing with the Irish... I'm just going to call him... what's a generic Irish name?
Paddy. Apparently that's the name the actor played him. Yeah.
So Paddy here is supposedly a ginger kid and he grows up and he's not ginger, right? That was difficult to follow because I wasn't sure who he was throughout. I thought these were different people, and then when he got shot off the cliff, I thought he was the guy who shot. It's misleading.
It really doesn't make sense to me, and I was sitting there thinking, is this supposed to make sense? It's really not clear.
Also, I want to point
out, and it toos and froze in between as well.
I didn't point this out in my own review, but I should have. The guy who converts him is his dad, but his dad didn't age, but he did. It's very strange.
So,
dads, they don't age, do they? Yep.
Oliver, at this point in the video, can you insert some library footage from YouTube of someone's head exploding? Because that's how I feel right now. Don't actually do that, because...
The problem is, I think Chibnall has kind of written himself a little bit into a corner with this, because he's set up so many different things across these 2 series that he's been showrunning now, and it's going to be impossible for him to tie them all up in a neat little bow that everyone's happy with. Even Moffat couldn't do it in Time of the Doctor. It felt rushed. I think it's probably going to be the same thing here. There's just too much.
So... It's too much ambition, and I also think the pacing as well. So we hardly got anything in Series 11. We're not going to get all of our questions answered with Series 12. It's going to be carried on to Series 13, but then we get all these filler episodes sort of tacked on. And something I've noticed with Chibnall, I don't know if I've talked about this already, I probably have on the channel, but just the episode orders of the series seem to be all wrong. So Rosa and Arachnids in the UK should be swapped round. although Fugitive of the Judoon leads into Praxis, and then Can You Hear Me leads into Haunting the Villa Diodati, I think Praxis would have benefited more if it came before Fugitive and then Fugitive comes later.
I agree.
Although I can understand why they wanted Fugitive as a sort of mid-series lift to get, sort of remind people.
Hey, this is interesting. Keep watching.
Yeah, and you tend to put that episode as mid-series because ratings tend to sag and quality tends to sag. And I do understand why they put Orphan 55 as episode 3 because they just wanted it out of the way as quickly as possible. I think behind the scenes they're probably not happy with that episode, but that's just me surmising.
I don't think they'd be happy with many of the episodes. I mean, if I was in charge, I wouldn't be happy. Imagine if you were the head of the BBC and the showrunner for Doctor Who hands you these scripts.
Yeah.
I found it. Sorry, if you heard rampant clicking, I've been looking for this image for ages, and I've just found it.
The thing is, in response to what Tharries saying, I don't know if you saw Doomcock's video about the rumours about David Tennant getting back in. It's like Doomcock said in this video, it was supposed to be he was only going by what his source said.
Yeah, I don't think that's
and it is unverified. But the thing is, he said apparently it was supposed to be a course correction in this series, but Chibnall's been playing for more power. He wants more creative control. Apparently he wants to get his own production team that was on Broadchurch. He wants to get them involved. And Jodie Whittaker's making more demands about the scripts, and they don't want to sort of step in too much because they're worried about Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall quitting. They're worried about having to fire her in a PR disaster.
I'd be like, screw it.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't understand the logic, but I don't think it helps.
I guess it might look bad if the first female Doctor gets fired by the BBC. That might look a bit
and they're very. I think they're very worried about. They're very cautious about. Perhaps too cautious about what they should do, especially with the scrutiny they're under at the moment from the government and
with the license.
So many senior figures and hinting that they're going to decriminalise the license fee in a way that's never been so transparent before. I'm just looking at this video. I think I did see this photo on the Doctor Who Twitter account.
Have you seen? I posted it in the thing.
Yeah, it's basically. It shows the seal of Rassilon, so it confirms that they're going to Gallifrey.
Let's talk about this now. We probably should have put a spoiler. It's okay, guys. We've spoiled it for you, but get angry at us. It'll be funny.
You've had a day to watch it, so...
Yeah, but no. This picture of next week's episode that...
You can't really talk about this episode without spoiling it.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's like trying to talk about Fugitive without mentioning spoilers. It's like, the whole thing is spoilers. That's kind of the point.
Yeah. But anyway, so this image, someone, I think it was on your Discord, Tharries, or I think Force Daleks one.
Originally. But I know it came from Mandeep's girl's Instagram, and she was like, didn't mean to post that.
But it supposedly, it's supposedly Gallifrey, probably.
Well, it is.
But it's this big...
Rassilon in the side.
Yeah. And supposedly the Eye of Harmony in the background there. And someone put a message on it saying that someone uses this Eye of Harmony to resurrect some Time Lord Cyberman type thing. I have no idea. Well, not resurrect, turn some Cybermen into Time Lords or something. I don't know. And there's also a...
If they do that, that's going to be really dumb. I'm sorry, that's just dumb.
Yeah, I was at the end of the episode when Sacha Dhawan appeared, which was fantastic because I do love Sacha Dhawan. I was really excited. I I can't wait for next week's episode. But after thinking about it and talking to some other people about it today, I'm anxious about next week because let's face it, they're gonna mess it up. They've brought this through. If they cock it up, it's I mean, there's only one way it can go, but
the video.
Just there is one crumb of comfort that I think we can all draw from this. Going back to what you were saying about the Cyberlords, it could be worse. They could be saying, "Oh, they're not Cybermen anymore; they're Cyber people."
Oh God! Oh, Chibnall and your representation.
I can just see myself banging my head against a wall. And,
I don't think he'll be that stupid.
No.
I think that the Cybermen are just too much of an iconic name for the BBC to getting rid of it.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I do think that serious changes to the law are coming because it's been suggested throughout the series. The Doctor saying everything will change.
Oh God! I just want to go into a hole and listen to Big Finish. That's my happy place.
This is going to sound conservative and snobby, but I like canon the way it currently stands. And I just think if you were doing a binge watch of the whole of Doctor Who, all 30-something years of it, and you spent years buying all the books and everything, and you spend years watching it, and because it takes a while to binge watch Doctor Who. It would probably take an episode an evening, maybe more than that, and then you just get to this point in history, and it would just be like, when it was all a dream. It's like it puts me in mind of the British Empire, which was apparently a sitcom in the 90s about a spa manager, and the very last episode ends with the revelation it was all a dream that he was having in the back of a cab as he's on his way to a job interview. And that apparently is not very popular with fans and critics. It was all a dream endings very rarely are popular because it's just a cheat and it undermines everything. Yeah. And it would be two fingers up, and it would just be so pointless, really, in the long term.
It's like you mentioned in your video, it's like Lung Barrow all over again.
Yeah, that's what it feels like to me. It feels like Lung Barrow. But the thing with Lung Barrow is that at least it wasn't canonized. They had the sense to go, no, we're not going to do that.
I think it would restrict future showrunners, and also as well it would take away from the mystery of where the Doctor came from. It's enough for me to know that the Doctor got fed up with society and ran away, and is just a traveller.
I know if I became showrunner directly after Shipmore, my first order of business would be to retcon that.
Yeah,
the showrunners have done it. They retcon that
and Twice Upon a Time while she's there. We don't need that.
Yeah,
they retcon the half-human thing for the TV movie, so things can be retconned out. So I'm not, against the idea of things being retconned in the future. But like you say, it does create some needlessly big hoops for like future showrunners to jump, if you like. And in terms of like the episode itself, because we have sort of veered a little bit away from the actual episode itself, I think
no change there.
No, my concern with it is that I think similarly to Fugitive, if the payoffs are terrible, then I think it's really going to make this episode considerably worse. Like as it stands right now, I rank Fugitive a 5 out of 10, purely because depending on how the resolution goes, if it's a good resolution, my score might go up a little bit, maybe to a 6 or a 7. But if it's a really bad resolution, then it could go down to like a 2 or a 3. Yeah.
I said at the time it was dependent on Captain Jack coming back face to face with the Doctor and where this all ended up.
I don't think he is this series, though, is he?
Well, Chris Chibnall has said he's categorically not turning up this series. Apparently, he was spotted filming more and is in the special episode that's going to be airing later in the year, which will probably...
By that point, I mean this in the nicest way. Is anyone going to care?
Well, he's come back already. It's likely to be... We'll find out more next week, probably after the episode airs, in the same way we found out after Round School that we were going to be waiting a year. But I think it is going to be a long wait. Probably Christmas, New Year, everyone's talking.
It's 18 months until Series 13. I think the Christmas special is in between that.
Yeah, but it's already been filmed, so it's going to be on the... and it's sort of going to be a stop fill. In the same way Slipback, the radio show, was a kind of stopgap between series 22 and 23, was it? Keeping the ball rolling.
Slipback, was that a 6 Doctor story then?
Yeah, the radio show.
Oh, okay.
Because that aired during the 80s.
Oh yeah, well, definitely then. So.
I do love though how everyone in like the 80s was like outraged at an 18th month gap. And I've just seen like people weirdly accepting it now, and it's like, if it wasn't okay in the 80s, why is it okay
but
now?
At least we got Doctor in Distress from it.
For God! No, stop mentioning this. I can't.
It's class.
I would rather listen to Chris Morris's Blue Jam or the songs from that. Look up the Spotify playlist. Some great songs there.
Too long to wait.
But it's just
hesitate.
The thing is, I was expecting, because so series 11 aired in sort of October time, and then it was a kind of 14-month wait. So I was expecting, with that in mind, it's not unreasonable to expect another 10-episode series in April time next year, because that, and they would still get a break, which I'm sure they deserve because they probably worked very hard on this. I imagine there's certainly the people who are very low down and just doing their jobs. But it sounds like they're going to go on a really long break. And Chris Chibnall said a couple of days ago in an interview with Entertainment Weekly that it was going to be next year sometime, hopefully, unless he decides to take a really long holiday. And Nikki Wilson has said, they'll probably start filming in September. But even that is just, I'd rather have it in April.
Yeah, I'm of the opinion, right, I'm planning on doing a full video on this. I'm of the opinion, right, that if RTD can get a series out each year plus 2 other spin-offs, now I don't think it's too much to ask for 11 episodes a year. Maybe that's sacrilege. Maybe I'm just a horrible person who thinks that the crew don't.
But RTD was a
break. Oh yeah, he was
a bloody god. Yeah,
and I'm not asking for 2. I'm not asking for like 14 episodes plus 2 spin-offs a year. I just don't think 11 episodes is that much. Yeah. I mean, considering the fact that...
Why is it 10 episodes now? Wow, I was thinking about this yesterday. How are we just accepted 10 episodes when we used to get 13 and 14?
I think the rumours I've heard about it, I am slightly sympathetic because Chibnall did say in a recent production notes that it's kind of... Jodie Whittaker said something similar, that even with 10 episodes, they spend a year filming it, which is the same amount of time they used to spend filming 13 episodes. They used to spend 10 months on it anyway.
The Series 12 production quite closely, and it seemed to take them way too long to film.
Yeah. But I think as well, they're saying that I think they've decreased it because of they don't want in the world.
You're cutting out a bit. Do you mind saying that one more time?
Workload, and then the rest of the year doing publicity, you hardly get any rest. But I'm just thinking, if you enjoy the job, which is doing it, surely you wouldn't need the rest, or I don't know.
I'm not saying they don't deserve a rest, but I think, considering Jodie's pay packet, I think per
10
year,
episodes. I mean, it's still 10 episodes and a bit scattershot, but in a consistent time slot, surely it would be in your interest to do that, because if you don't do that, the ratings fall. We've seen that this year because it's been moved all over the place. It's off the air for too long. People forget about it.
The year gap is detrimental to the viewing figures. We've seen that it is.
Yeah, with Spyfall.
The same thing happened in 2016 with when we had a year off then as well. The ratings suffered. I don't know what it takes. I'm of the opinion, right? Jodie is I think she gets paid $200,000 a year, something along those lines. And considering how much she's paid, I don't think that 10 episodes a year is that much to ask from it. There've been some people, mocking it on Twitter, saying, "Oh, why can't we have, 1 billion episodes a year with the same production of a Star Wars movie?"
No, but no one's asking for that.
No, I'm not asking for that. I'm just thinking that I'd happily take a production downgrade to what we had in Series 10, because apparently the budget is a bit higher. Not 100% sure where it goes, mind you, but that's another thing entirely.
The budget's higher this year.
Yeah, I'd happily take a downgrade if it meant that we were going to get a series each year.
Thing is, I haven't really noticed. I don't know if it's just me, but I haven't noticed that much change in the production values. In fact, despite their best attempts with the aspect ratio and the anamorphic lenses, it seems to have come down. I think that's probably where the money's gone, the nice anamorphic lenses. But
I agree.
But
did you just sneeze your mic over?
I know, I just sneezed, sorry.
And if you were watching last week's video when I was actually with Max, you'll know my dad decided to butt in and give his opinion. And he texted me and let me know to read it out.
Is this going to be an ongoing thing, or
why not? Why not?
He wants it to be. So he said,
"Let's go."
Yeah. He texted me, said, Doctor Who was like Dalek Invasion of Earth, then went a bit slow and didn't understand. Brendan, who did Captain Jack Harkness, confusing. Yeah, I don't know whether he's gone dyslexic, but he also says Gallifrey Bay said that was as good as Spyfall Part 1, but not as good as Jadoon on the Moon. I think he means Fugitive by that.
Oh well, so yeah, so they must be right then, because Gallifrey Base is always right.
Gallifrey Base has always got the most reasoned people on it.
Yeah, you can always trust Gallifrey Base.
It says it rated Orphan. Wait, this is something a bit different. It says Orphan 55 rated on average 4.7, so the lowest ever New Who episode apparently. But again, that's Gallifrey Base, and apparently you can't trust them there.
Wait. The lowest score on Gallifrey Base is Orphan 55. They gave it a 4.7. Jeez, that's generous.
I mean, that's probably what I'd give it. I know we spoke about this the other day, but I'm a bit more generous on Orphan.
I'd give it like a 1.
I would need to watch it again. In fact, I need to watch all of Series 12 again. I don't particularly want to, because but
that's my problem. I'm like, I need to rewatch it to get in order for the.
Despite Orphan 55's faults, I don't mind it that much. I'm not saying it's perfect or good or a stroke of genius, but I do like certain individual scenes from it. There are individual scenes from this series I like, but episodes, I don't know.
Yeah.
There isn't much of an improvement from Series 11. It isn't quite the return to form I was hoping for, but.
Well, like I think for me, and it's difficult. I think that returning to some familiar aspects was necessary. You needed it after Series 11. But then another part of me is like, returning to familiar aspects is one thing. Straight up copying certain plot points for other episodes is another thing entirely. Like, I mean, take Spyfall, for example. There are elements that just feel so familiar. And I'm all for a bit of nostalgia, you know. David Tennant era was when I started watching, so that, you know, that stuff does land for me. But at a certain point, you're like, I want something new, but at the same time, something good that's new.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I do feel the same way. I was just... Sorry, I forgot what I was going to say. Carry on.
What they basically should have done, right, here's my pitch. Predominantly focus on new stuff again, but just pepper in a few more villains and plot points, but like don't overdo it. Because this series for me has felt so reactionary. It's felt like, oh, people didn't like it when we did all new stuff, so just drag all the old stuff back again. They even bring back the bloody Time Lord heartbeat. You know, the do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
Yeah, despite the fact that's not been in the show for years.
Despite it's not been in the show for years, they brought it back. They brought back the Cybermen again. That, you know, were brought back again in Worlds Enough in Time. You know, so they've been brought back twice now. Yeah. And I've said in my review that's going to be out shortly after we record this, I think, that I'm getting a bit... My opinion on the Cybermen is the same as it is about the Time War Daleks. I'm getting a bit sick of seeing the design again. Just like over and over and over again. It's like, you know, I love the design. The design's great, don't get me wrong. But at a certain point, you're like, I want to see a new design. Which is why I was happy when we saw the new Cyberman design, because I thought, okay, that's like different, you know, harkening back.
Something that's
but
actually
it's its own
from the Chibnall era.
Yeah, but it's its own thing. And then they go, well, no, we're going to bring the Cybermen back as well. I'm just like... You had one job.
It's not really explained why they sort of bring them back, and they weren't really that necessary because they don't even have that many. Oh.
I mean, thankfully, they didn't really come into the episode that much. They were basically just the lone Cyberman's helpers. But I was just kind of like, I didn't mind their inclusion, but I just think I'm a bit annoyed to see the same designs for the creatures over and over and over again. Like, I'd have liked. Well, obviously, I know there's only so much you can do with the Jadoon, but like. They were basically the same as they were.
But basically, from my side, I've just been spending the last 9 weeks. On the Chibnall. Would I necessarily like Davis era if it was being done now? It's just, I don't...
Being biased and looking back at the era with rose-tinted glasses.
I think there is...
Neither do we. And we've come up to 41 minutes, so I'd say we should wrap us. Take a...
Before we
Yeah.
do ratings
Ascension.
after.
Oh, with just for this episode, or
Wait,
Tharries,
what are we doing out of 10
and
ratings?
how would you rank it?
I'm so sorry you have to edit this. Ratings
Oh, no, it's fine.
is... I'm going to give it a 6.
Yeah,
It
I
was
think
like
probably
decent, I guess. Yeah. 6.
overall. Poor execute. I liked the Cyber War could have been so much better. I execute a bit poor. It was just such a non-event. I just didn't feel. I think more happened in Praxis, if I'm honest.
Nah,
Like-
I disagree with that, but I do agree
Okay,
with
maybe
you.
maybe I'm being a bit harsh on it, but I mean I'm a little bit too generous on Praxis, I think. But,
Yeah, I think you are, because I think Praxis is so boring and dull and just ugh. Don't like
I
Praxis.
think that's
at all.
putting in perspective how underwhelmed I was about this
Yeah,
episode.
that's true.
But yeah,
It's saying,
6 out of 10 is
it is
fitting.
certainly saying a lot when episode 5 feels bigger than episode 9 and.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Oh.
You are right there. I
I just
agree.
hope they
I'm actually right about something for once. Yay!
I just hope I just hope they don't fuck it up next week. As long as it can redeem itself, because again, I'm in fear of it going off track. Like again, you mentioned the other Cybermen finales. I'm just in fear of it going off track and.
Put it this way: I'm a brace for the worst, and if
Yeah.
if it's better than that, then hey, I'm not disappointed.
Yeah.
But I'm
Still,
literally.
you will be disappointed, but
Yeah.
It goes on for 65 minutes next week.
blimey.
That's longer. I'm probably gonna have to. Yeah.
Thing is, it would need to be though with all the things that he's put into these bloody scripts, man.
I couldn't manage 40 this week.
If you think about it, we got the potential companion departures, the timeless child arc, Gallifrey and it being raised, and obviously the return to Gallifrey. Which...
I think Chris Chibnall can pull it off. I have faith in him.
Really?
Well,
Really?
that's the
I
only
don't
thing.
really.
That's all we have, isn't
But
it?
basically, Creatures of Hope. So I'm gonna summarise and wrap up quickly. So what I thought. So I'd probably give it a 5 out of 10 because although I do think I was somewhat more peed off about it than was right last night, there was still more I hated about it than what I enjoyed. There was just moments where it just wasn't very logical. I didn't like the dialogue. It didn't really surprise, and it was just sort of ripping up stuff we've already had in the past, sort of ripping off that. Yeah, it was weird.
Well, there we go. Yeah. Is that all we have to say about this episode?
I
in
believe
the
so.
whole- In respect, yeah. Okay. I mean, it'll take quite a while to render, but I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's all we have to say about this.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go now because someone's just come in the door. But,
So am I.
Oh
bye.
God. Oh, all right. Well, make sure to join back next week for our discussion about what's it called? The Timeless Children, which hopefully
Yeah.
won't be let down. But
And subscribe to me as well, don't you?
yeah, subscribe to Tharry, subscribe to Max. Make sure you check out their reviews and whatnot. I'll let Max go in case he gets stabbed. And yeah.
I'll be back in a minute, but
Oh, okay, fair enough. If we've not finished, but yeah, I will be on hopefully I'll be on an episode of. We've recorded it. I'll be on an episode of the Tharries podcast. So if you're doing.
Yeah,
in-
probably be
actually
sometime
like me-
next week, I reckon. Probably.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I-
Right.
I'll-
But yeah, I think that's all we have to say. So that was the underwhelming Ascension of the Cybermen. I'll see you all next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
goodbye.